Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Andrew Bottom, and I am the Associate Director of the Global Internship Program at the UCLA International Education Office. And I am here to talk to you about everything involving global internships this upcoming summer. So a little bit about our office before we move forward. So again, I work out of the UCLA International Education Office. We're your one-stop shop for everything study abroad. So we have a lot of study abroad advisors and coordinators that are involved in both internship programs, but also in other study abroad experiences, faculty-led programs, year-long immersion programs, summer programs, research programs. So even if you decide an internship is not for you, we still may have another study abroad opportunity that you might want to talk to our office about. Today in our session, we're going to talk about interning abroad. So we'll discuss why it might be a good idea for you to intern abroad. We'll preview the UCLA Global Internship Program, discuss the application, selection, and placement process. I'll talk about the program locations and also the departments we work with specifically, program funding options, and then as I mentioned at the very end, we will have an opportunity to answer any of the questions you might have throughout the presentation. So first question is, why might you want to intern abroad? So for a lot of our students, these are some of the answers that they've given us in the past. Gaining a competitive edge in the international job market, increasing their industry knowledge in their career field, strengthening just communication, team building, and their adaptability skills. Sometimes students are going for a specific, major, specific career field, but a lot of the skills that they get might be soft skills as well while they're on their internship program. Global networking. In the cases of these global internship programs, you're networking both with locals that you may be interning at the office site and also other students that may be in your same major that are also conducting internships, both from UCLA and other universities around the world. Expanding your worldview, making academic progress towards your degree. The great thing about the Global Internship Program is there is academic coursework that for a lot of you will hopefully go towards your major or minor credit. Experiencing a new culture firsthand, learning more about your own culture by getting outside the US, and opportunities to boost your confidence as you travel and get to learn how to live on your own. So the Global Internship Program, this program occurs every summer during summer session A, so about mid-June through mid-August. It's an 8-week internship program, so you're physically on the ground for 8 weeks or conducting a virtual internship for 8 weeks. And then at the same time, you're also conducting coursework, and that coursework goes during the session A 10-week calendar. So there's about 2 weeks or so that you may be done with your internship, but completing that final coursework at the end. The career fields we currently work with are economics, education, engineering, what we call global affairs and global health, which involves international institute majors and minors, so global studies, international area studies, IDS, international development studies, global health, also political science and public affairs. Something to note is that if you are not in one of these majors, students who go through the global affairs track and the political science track are in global health. Those career fields are eligible for non-majors. So for instance, you might have a biology student who wants to conduct an internship in our global health track. That's fine because the coursework is open to non-majors. Same thing for political science. While you're conducting an internship, you will be conducting 4 to 8 units of coursework. These are academic, non-paid internships. And again, they're both in-country and there's also virtual opportunities. During the actual internship itself, it's pretty full-time. So you'll be interning approximately 32 hours per week, so 4 days per week. And then if it's a virtual internship, it will be a little bit more flexibility, about 20 to 30 hours per week, depending on your specific placement. The eligibility criteria is a little bit different for some of the programs. There's sometimes some special eligibility criteria depending on the location you're going, but in general, overall, you must be a UCLA undergraduate student. A minimum of 90 units completed by the end of spring 2023. This includes transfer and AP credits. So I do want to make sure you know if you are a transfer student, we definitely encourage you to apply for the program. We love transfer students. You may not have a GPA at UCLA quite yet, but we will do a grade check in the winter quarter at the start. So you will have a UCLA GPA by the time we are accepting students into the program officially. Good academic standing, and then as I mentioned, there may be some additional criteria depending on the specific location of your program and the department, and that criteria is visible on each of the program websites. The academic portion of the program, as I mentioned, is 10 weeks, follows summer session A. You will conduct a 195 internship course, which is mandatory. That course is kind of like an independent study in a way where you're working with a TA on campus. You'll have weekly assignments to conduct, whether it's writing assignments, whether it's reflection, and then you'll have some sort of final project at the very end of your course. For students who wish to get 4 additional units, we do have an optional Intercultural Communication, the Global Workplace course, CESC 130. This course for some majors may count towards, major credits, elective credit, GE credit. We've mentioned this within the program website. So you'll be able to see if you search, let's say, on engineering to see whether it counts for something. So engineering, this counts towards the social analysis GE. For public affairs, for instance, you can use it as an upper division elective credit. So for a lot of our programs, we do try to get both these courses to count towards credit for your degree. And the CSC 130 course is also asynchronous as well. It's a little bit more of a what you would think of as a stereotypical virtual course where you do have an instructor that has pre-recorded lectures. So you're not meeting at a specific time of the day, but you are reviewing those specific lectures. You are working in groups with other students that are in different countries, actually, on our other programs in global internships. So you might be in Ho Chi Minh City, and you might be in a group with a student who's in Bogota, Colombia, discussing your experiences together. In both cases, for the internship course and CESC 130, you will be meeting with your TA during biweekly meetings. So you will have some sort of contact with them virtually. If you are planning to apply for financial aid, it is required that you enroll in both courses in order to be eligible to apply for aid and receive grant and loan funding. So let's go to the selection and placement process. So the application itself is opening up next Monday, October 24th, and closes on December 4th. We'll put in the chat the link for the Global Internship website. And if you click on one of those web pages, the specific program you want to apply to, you can easily apply, or there's a apply link on the front page. One thing to note is that it is not a first come, first serve program. So you can apply on October 24th or apply on December 4th, and your application will be treated the same. The only thing I'll mention, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, is I think it's a little advantageous to apply earlier, only because the next step in the application process is an meeting with one of our on-site partners, and I'll discuss a little more in depth what those folks do, but they're the ones who are placing you at an internship site, and they do an advising meeting with you before we make our selection decisions of who will be in the program. And it's always nicer to do that meeting, I would say maybe in November, versus if you apply on the last day of the application, your meeting might be during 10th week or finals week or during your vacation in December. So always a little bit nicer, I feel like, to connect that meeting a little bit earlier in the quarter. Documents you want to prepare before you apply, and then we'll get into the application process. One is your resume. Make sure that it is up to date, appropriately formatted and spell checked. Put in any experience that you might have, whether it is actual work or internship experience, whether it's leadership experience on campus, clubs, volunteer work, anything that's relevant. Make sure it's on your resume. That resume will be used and sent out to potential internship site managers and supervisors for them to sift through to see if they want to set up an interview with you later on in the process. Additionally, you will be asked to fill out a motivation to enroll questionnaire. This is almost like you can consider it kind of like a cover letter, but they are 4 separate questions just to get to know a little bit more about you. So a personal introduction, why you're interested in the specific location that you're applying towards, your career goals and how this experience aligns with those, and then what makes you stand out as a candidate. Why should you be selected? You have a maximum of 125 words per response, and I suggest that you create your response in a Word document, save it, and then copy and paste it in the application, because the application itself does not allow you to save during the process. So it would be unfortunate if you were applying and then your computer froze and you had to, rewrite everything again. So once you go to the website, you apply and submit your resume and your motivation to enroll questionnaire. Then what happens is we do a quick review, make sure that you've met all the requirements as far as eligibility wise, and you submitted all the appropriate documentation. And then we will set up an advising call, which I was talking about earlier, with our on-site country partners. So these are the partners who are in charge of, most importantly, your internship placement. They're the ones with a network of different organizations and companies for whom we're going to place you with during the summer. They're also in charge of your housing, your social and cultural experience on the ground, your orientation when you arrive. So even though I'm your main contact at UCLA, these folks will be your main contact in person when you're on the program. So it's a great opportunity, just as much as they're kind of interviewing you, to get to know about your experience, your skills, why you want to intern in that specific location, what you're looking for in an internship, and what sort of experience as far as career-wise that you're looking to get. It's also a great opportunity during this advising call to ask them questions, learn more about the types of internship placements past students have done, learn about what it's like to live on site, in that specific city and country, and any little things you might want to know that will help you decide whether it's a good place or a good location for you. In January, we'll send out our acceptance decisions. We do a grade check in early January because grades will come in right around that first week for us. And then we will send out acceptance emails. At that point, if you're accepted into the program, you will place down a $300 non-refundable deposit that will confirm your spot in the program. Moving forward in the middle of February, that's actually when you would be paying either the remaining balance for your program fee out of pocket, or submitting a financial aid form that solidifies to us that you're planning to use financial aid to pay for your program balance. Once you have officially paid or submit your financial aid documentation in mid-February, at that point, we start the internship placement process. And so what happens is our on-site partners will start meeting with you a second time in most cases, learn more in depth what you're specifically looking for again, and then they will start sending out emails and talking to their on-site organizations and companies, sending out your resume to set up interviews for you. And so you'll be conducting usually interviews on Zoom. Sometimes it can be WhatsApp. It really depends on the country and what the local customs are. And after the interview is done, both yourself and the prospective internship site manager will give feedback on whether you think it's a good match. And if it is, you'll sign an internship agreement form, and then you'll be set for the summer. If it wasn't a good match on your end, or let's say maybe they interviewed 4 students and wanted a different student to conduct the internship with them for the summer, then you'll move on to another internship interview. So I always like to let students know that you won't be conducting 10 interviews at the same time. It's usually a linear process. You'll conduct one interview, give feedback. If it wasn't a match on either end, you'll conduct another one until you're placed. Most students, I would say, might conduct between 1 to 3 interviews, but it really depends on your specific career interests and what's available in that city. All right, so let's get to the fun part. Let's talk about global internship locations and the different specific majors that we work with. So for economics, we have a program in Prague. This program, we place students with consulting firms, corporations, government agencies, investment banks, litigation consulting firms. Students for this program, one important note is, in addition to the 195 course and the CSC 130 course, there is an option for an Econ 199A course to take. This course is something you would have to get approved by a local faculty member in the Econ department. And we can always talk about that later if you are an economics student looking to conduct a 199A course. For education majors and minors, we have programs in Bogota, Colombia, and Cape Town, South Africa. This program focuses really on human rights placements that could be in law, NGOs, nonprofits. You aren't necessarily going to be teaching in front of a classroom, but you might be working with an organization where you are in a different way providing educational, not necessarily lectures, but you may be putting together educational information for a particular organization. You may be doing, in this case, you can see some site visits for one of our students this past year who was putting on some different events. So there was a large soccer event in conjunction with Nike that they got to put on in Bogota, Colombia. They also, you can see here, another event. I think this was in an island of Provincia. The student was able to travel a little bit with their program. And so they're working with some of the local community members. I'm not sure exactly what this presentation was on, but you might be presenting, for different organizations that you're working with, maybe not in a formal sense of an actual academic classroom setting. And in this case, it's the Education 195 CE with the 130 course as well. Engineering students, we have programs in Bali, Indonesia, Berlin, Germany, and Osaka, Japan. Again, the 185 and 130 course are available. Depending on the location you select, specifically for engineers, this will really affect, your placement area that you're interested in will really affect where you want to apply. So there are availability in different locations for AI, bio and biomedical engineering, chemical and electrical engineering, civil engineering, computer science, hardware, software, industrial, geoscience, and mechanical engineering, and a lot of renewable and energy opportunities as well. So we will have presentations I'll talk about at the end of this where you can learn more about each specific location, and these will be coming up info sessions specifically in the next couple of weeks. And that will really help you to decide which program you might want to select depending on your own particular placement interest. For global affairs and global health, again, these are for International Institute. Majors and minors is kind of the focus, but you may be a biology student looking to do global health, or a public health student also looking to do global health. We have programs in Bogota and Medellin, Colombia, Buenos Aires, Cape Town, Dublin, Ho Chi Minh City, and then for global health only in La Paz, Bolivia. It is an International Area Studies course. 195 is the mandatory course that will be for this program. And students will be placed with advocacy groups, economic placements, global health placements, international development focused, NGOs, nonprofits, politics. Public affairs students, very similar to the global affairs group, except for there's no program in La Paz, but there's a program for law students specifically, or students are looking to study law in Prague, Czech Republic. So again, we have programs in Colombia, Argentina, South Africa, Ireland, Vietnam, and in Prague, Czech Republic. Public affairs or political science are the 195 CE courses that you'll take depending on which track you decide to enroll in. And the placements range from advocacy groups, economics, global health, international development, NGOs, nonprofits, law focus. There's definitely a lot of law placements, and politics and urban planning. And then additionally, we do have virtual internships. So for all of the programs except for economics, there's virtual opportunities. We did try economics virtual last year, but it seemed like it wasn't quite a great match for the types of placements that students were looking for. So we decided to not continue further for this upcoming summer, but there are virtual placements for the other tracks that I had listed prior. Virtual opportunities are still a great opportunity to get real live work experience. It's a little bit more flexible, about 20 to 30 hours per week, project-based work. And it's a great opportunity to conduct an internship with an international company while you are from the comfort of your own home. We actually had students this past year that got job offers from their virtual companies, which was great. And so they've been able to move forward and continue working after the internship was completed. A couple testimonials from students from this past summer. We had Omar we actually shared some of his photos here in the education program. He said, the knowledge I gained during my global internship program in Bogota, Colombia could have never been acquired from a textbook or sitting in a class. I truly believe that this experience allowed me to gain knowledge around culturally responsive practices through the community engagement that I experienced. We had Ladea that was in London. Unfortunately, we are not doing London programs this current summer. Just pricing has increased quite a bit, but we have Dublin as a new option in Europe. And she said, interning was completely different. It gave me a newfound sense of independency. It allowed me to take control of my experiences. We also had Blaze that conducted an engineering internship in Bali. She said, this experience has allowed me to see the endless possibilities for engineers to have a positive impact on the environment. We had Bladam that was in Ho Chi Minh City, who said, don't be afraid to step outside your comfort level. Living and working abroad can be intimidating, but it'll be an experience that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. So just a couple testimonials from students this past summer. So let's talk a little bit about how to get funding for your internship program. So the first thing to note is that all of the global internship programs are eligible for financial aid. So if you are a student who normally uses financial aid to cover costs during the academic year, you most likely should be eligible for financial aid for the summer for the global internship program. Financial aid does include grants, scholarships, and loans. So just make sure that when you are applying for financial aid, you complete your FAFSA or DREAM Act application by the priority deadline for 2020. Oh, sorry, actually, that should be 2023, 2024. It's my fault. So for the next academic year, summer is the first term of the 2023 academic year. There's going to be a separate global internship financial aid application form you'll have to submit as well in order to be eligible for financial aid. But it is worthwhile to note that financial aid for the summer, and this is true for global internships or for any summer program, whether it's on campus or abroad, does tend to be more loan heavy. And that's because not all of the grants that are offered during the academic year, like the Cal grant, are offered during the summer. So we do like to let students just know that transparently, it is usually more loan heavy during the summer. However, there are financial or are scholarship opportunities we really want to promote to students so that you can cover your program costs or cover part of your program costs through scholarships as well. Here are some sample scholarships that we have available. And these are posted on our IEO website, but there is actually a financial aid session that will be occurring tomorrow, or sorry, not financial aid, a scholarship session tomorrow, October 19th from 3 to 4 p.m. So we'll put that link here in the chat for you so you can sign up if you're interested in learning more information about relevant scholarships. But as you can see from the sample list of scholarships, we have a scholarship for $1,000 for public affairs students for the Congressman Lynn Shank Capstone Scholarship. We have a European Undergraduate Study Scholarship for $2,500. That's for all programs except for UK programs because we have a UK scholarship for $1,500. We have the Kramer and Siebert Scholarship for $1,000. That's for students who are conducting a global affairs or global health program. And then we also have the Wang Middle Income Scholarship for students who, through your FAFSA, qualify as middle income, and you can learn more about that information on our scholarship page. But the scholarship I want to really highlight the most is we have the Global Internship Program Scholarship. So that scholarship is up to $3,000. We give out to various students for the program. You're only, in a lot of the cases too, you're only really going against or applying against other students for these local scholarships who are on study abroad programs. So in some cases, it might be other summer programs where students are going to be eligible to apply as well. In the case of the Global Internship Program Scholarship, it's just global internship students. So definitely highly encourage you to apply to scholarships because a lot of scholarships are really honestly under applied to. And so you have a better opportunity, I think, to get scholarship funding than you might think. Additionally, for external scholarships, I really like to highlight the Benjamin Gilman International Scholarship, which provides up to $5,000 of funding for students to conduct a study abroad experiences. This is for Pell Grant recipients specifically, so you must be a Pell Grant recipient to qualify. And UCLA actually this past year received a designation as being one of the top Gilman Scholarship recipient institutions in the US. So I think the average for students who apply nationally to receive the scholarship is about 25% of those who apply receive it. And I don't know the exact number of UCLA students. I don't want to give an incorrect number, but we definitely have a much higher percentage of students who apply that receive the scholarship. So it's a lot of funding. There is a project you must do when you return to campus in order to complete your scholarship. Like that's part of the contract for the scholarship. But it is a lot of funding for your program, and a lot of global internship students in the past have received the scholarship. So again, if you are interested, definitely attend the scholarship info session on October 19th. So tomorrow from 3 to 4 p.m. The information is located on the GLOW website. Furthermore, just wanted to make note that there are a lot of location-specific info sessions for those locations that you saw earlier for the Global Internship Program. So in those sessions, we'll have our on-site partners presenting as well. I'll be there, but they'll be there to talk a little bit more about what it's like to intern in that host city, some past opportunities that other students who have conducted internships have been able to do, and answer any questions that you might have about living, locally in Cape Town, living locally in Dublin, Ho Chi Minh City. So great opportunity. So I highly encourage you to go to the ieo.ucla.edu/calendar link. It should be in the chat now, so that you can RSVP for one of those sessions. Those will be on Zoom as well. And so it's a great opportunity to learn a little bit more before you even apply for the program. And as you can see here, Wadia did a virtual internship program in Berlin. She said the favorite part of the program was the internship itself, together with the partner courses. They really embody the full package and give you a holistic experience as a student and intern. So before we move any further on to questions, just want to thank you all again for coming today to the presentation. My name is Andrew Bottom. Again, I'm the Associate Director for the Global Internship Program, and my email is abottom@ieo.ucla.edu. We can put that in the chat as well. And you can also see that these are some photos of some past adventures of our students who were on the program this past summer, in summer 2022. So in addition to your internship program, you'll have the opportunity to do some weekend travel, while you're on site. And so our students have definitely been able to explore their host country a lot while they've been abroad. As I answer some questions, I'm going to leave this link here. This is a way to sign up for our listserv email if you want to receive any more updates and communications about our programs. So definitely feel free to use that. I'm looking here to see if there are any questions. I don't see any currently. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Oh, one just came up. So this is a question about someone interested in the global health pathway. So global health is a great opportunity through this program. As I was mentioning earlier, there are a lot of locations where you could conduct a internship with, usually it's like a nonprofit or NGO that will have a health focus. So you have the opportunity to, be able to expand your understanding of a specific health topic through that NGO or nonprofit. And we have some examples on our website. If you look at each of the location pages specifically, you'll see some global health examples. However, I do want to highlight specifically the La Paz Global Health Program. That one's very unique. Whereas the other programs might be with an NGO or nonprofit, the Global Health Program in La Paz, Bolivia, is actually a program where you'll be conducting clinical observations. So you'll be doing rotations at different clinics and NGOs. You'll have an on-site medical director that will be providing medical lectures weekly. So it's definitely a more structured program for global health students, where you're not interning at a job site, you're more doing clinical observations. That program does require an intermediate level of Spanish, as you are conducting these observations in Spanish, and you are also at a home stay that would be in a Spanish-speaking country, obviously in Bolivia. So the main language in the house would be Spanish. This question is, how competitive are the global affairs internships? I would say just for all internship programs in general, it's definitely a program that is competitive in the sense that, we want to find the best match of students for the available internships that are there. And I think this current year is going to have a lot, maybe even more interest than even in past summers, because the ability to travel is a lot more open right now. Past summers, it's always been a little iffy depending on whether students could go or not go, because we didn't know what the border restrictions were. So we're expecting a lot of applications this upcoming year. But in past years, it's definitely been competitive. We want to place as many students as possible, but we also want to make sure your placements are of high quality. So if unfortunately you aren't placed for a program, you will be given information of that when we send out acceptance emails in the middle of January. And so either we would tell you, unfortunately, you weren't placed, or if there are opportunities in a different location. So let's say you applied to Bogota, Colombia, and weren't placed, but we had still placements in Buenos Aires and you were interested, we would let you know if those were still available in your select field. This next question is, what about the cost of the programs? Where can we find the breakdown for each location? So that's a great question. If you're able to go to our IEO website, so you'll see in the chat, I'll just repost that link right now. you'll be able to look at each of the program pages separately, and we have the program fees posted there. Those program fees will include the tuition, it will include your housing, include your internship placement, your health insurance, and 24/7, assistance from our on-site partners, as well as usually some social programming that was built in. Additionally, there's obviously flight costs, meal costs. You'll have access to a kitchen to cook while you're there, but your flight and your meals and transportation could vary depending on, how much you go out, how much you eat out, how much you travel. But financial aid will take into consideration when they're packaging you the full program cost. So both your program fee as well as your flight and your meals and transportation will take into consideration. They won't consider you if doing like a week trip after your program is completed. They won't consider that, but they will consider all of your daily costs you would need on your program. One thing to note as well is that this program is very intensive in the sense that you are conducting an internship 4 days per week, as well as conducting coursework. So students that are interested in traveling more than a short weekend trip should really do those at the end of the program versus during the program, because there won't be any time to do a longer trip during that portion of the program itself. The next question, is it possible to conduct another study abroad at the same time as the global internship? You can't conduct both at the same exact time. I'm not sure if this question is more referencing of whether you can apply to both at the same time. It is possible to apply to a UCAP program at the same time that you are applying to a global internship program. UCAP is the UC System-Wide Education Abroad program. In that case, for those programs, there's no application fee. And so you would know about the global internship program, whether you're accepted or not, in January, and then you could remove your application at that time if you no longer wanted to do the UCAP program, but wanted to move forward with global internships, or vice versa. But it would be on you in order to retract your application if you no longer wanted to apply. For our UCLA faculty-led travel study programs, there is an application fee at the time of registering, and that's non-refundable. So it wouldn't make sense to apply to both of those programs at the same time. That being said, even though UCLA travel study is first come, first serve, at the end, that program is open for registration until April. And so there could still be programs that have availability after you hear feedback regarding the global internship program middle of January. So some programs might be filled up by January, but there could be some that are still available and open after middle of January if you're still interested in doing a travel study program at that time. And as we have in the chat, yeah, just make sure you pay attention to the withdrawal and cancellation deadlines for UCAP, because they do come up, and those you will be required to withdraw your application. Otherwise, you're on the hook for those withdrawal deadlines. Usually, I believe those are in March or April, though. So this question was about where will this video link be posted? So we will post this video link, and you'll see in the chat right now, to the on-demand section in the ieo.ucla.edu/glow website. You'll see an on-demand section, and that's where you'll see this this recording plus other recordings posted to that section. And as I mentioned, if you're interested in attending one of those other info sessions coming up, definitely RSVP when you can, as those will be during the next 2 weeks. This question is, will we live with other UCLA students who are also conducting an internship while in that country during that program? Yes, so the housing will be with other UCLA students and or other students conducting internships as well. So a lot of our on-site partners work with various universities where they also have students that are conducting internships at the same time as UCLA. And so it's possible that you could have a housemate that is from a different university conducting an internship. One caveat to that is we have had students for instance, in Colombia that are in a student residence with other local students that are conducting, their studies that are local from Colombia. So either way, you'll be with students. Most of the time with other students conducting internships, majority of the time with UCLA students. But either way, you'll be in the same location as the rest of the UCLA students, even if your roommate happens to be another university student. This question is, can you conduct the virtual internship and study abroad at the same time? That's a good question. I would say follow up with me on that with a little bit more details of what you're looking to do. It might be possible, but it would really depend on what that other experience was for your study abroad, how many courses you need to take, and whether it's feasible to do both. So the answer is a maybe, but I would just send me an email and we can have a one-on-one discussion and learn a little bit more about your other study abroad experience and see whether that could actually function for you, because it might be a possibility. Any more last questions? If not, as we have in the chat, you should definitely come by if you have other questions or want to see us in person. We'll be at Bruin Plaza tomorrow. So you'll see we have the link there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're happy to talk to you in person there. We'll have all of our study abroad team on site. So we can definitely talk to you about global internships, UCLA travel study, UCAP, or any other questions that you might have. Okay. Thank you so much for attending, and feel free to email me again with any other questions you have. Hope to see you at the other info sessions for global internships as well. And best of luck on your study abroad applications and adventures.